This next mobilization is really specific to the low back area, the bottom of the foot, and even into the hip complex. Most of us learn anatomy by looking at a piece of paper or paper in a book, and it looks so one-dimensional. In reality, it's extremely three-dimensional. In fact, the tissue architecture is helical, which is a fancy word for spiraling. But we're going to place an emphasis on the back part of our body, the low back area, and even into the bottom of the foot, and wrapping around even into the pelvic complex. So when we squat all the way down, for example, we have to have this ability not only to flex, but also at a certain point in flexion, there's what's called a lumbopelvic rhythm, which allows the pelvis to then reorient itself, providing it has really good extensibility in the low back area. So it's very, very common that people have stiffness in this connective tissue, and it inhibits their ability to get down low into a squat position. People often refer to this as an impingement syndrome, and it typically is unilateral. So for example, the ability to go all the way down into a squat like that and come back up is extremely important for our organism. Many of us have lost the ability. So allow me to share with you one way you can slowly progress to gain that extensibility back here, which is part of the puzzle of getting your body to squat all the way down like that with ease, like we all did as a child. Remember, as a child, little kids are always down here and they're playing and they're touching the ground at ease, no problem at all. After kindergarten, we start to sit and the tissue literally solidifies. And then when we get older, we go to pick something up on the ground and we say to ourselves, wow, that is difficult. You can reform this connective tissue given the right tools. Here's just one of the many. So what I'd like to do is start people off in a kneeling position. Hands forward. The first part of the mobilization is to simply get your toes back so they're extended, then drive the pelvis slowly backwards. This should stretch the bottom of the connective tissue on both of your feet. If you feel one side more than the other, you can simply use your pelvis as a driver, side to side, turn a little bit. Make sure your toes stay nice and straight so you're not torqued out like I'm showing you on my right. Instead, you want all of your toes extended back. Very slowly mobilize your pelvis. Soft elastic bouncing is very different than jerky ballistic movement. So it's soft and elastic. This may last you a good week. Practice this every day, a few times a day. The progression then is to move more of your weight backwards. Very, very slowly. So now you'll see my body lift up off the mat. So obviously it's going to be more stressful to the bottom of the foot. I roll forward and backwards, creating greater bend in the toes and a stretch that's typically felt in the back part of your foot complex. Then I'll slowly progress it where I rock backwards, and it might just stay right here for a week or so. And then once again, I'm going to progress. And at this point, what I'm thinking is, how far can I get my fingertips forward away from my heels? The farther the better. As I start to pull my body apart, literally, because I'm pulling my fingers apart from my heel, I'm starting to feel, everybody's different, but I'm starting to feel the traction or the mobilization in this powerful connective tissue in the low back and throughout the pelvis. Sometimes, depending on your body, you can even feel it more lateral, as I talked about earlier. So keep working on this. Oscillate a little bit. You can breathe inward, which lifts the rib cage up. The goal is to constantly think about fingers away from heels. And over time, you'll gain more and more extensibility. If you feel overly compressed in this position, simply come out of it, relax a little bit. Notice how slow I'm moving. And then work your way very slowly back into the position. Just takes a little bit of time. Once you feel balanced, your body perceives stability, you can take your hand, in this case I'll grab my left hand to move over to my right and I'll pull. So my left hand becomes a therapist in a sense because I'm pulling on my right side, which enables more elongation of the connective tissue, and where you feel it's going to be individual. And I can use the floor with my hand to anchor, and then I can come over with a hinge. So I'm only bending my elbow because I want to maintain this traction. I grab on, I pull. And now I displace myself farther apart, which enables me to get nice and low. And over time what happens is you'll develop this ability. Go forward really slow, come out of it, and then to get up, you simply go down to the ground like this, and you create a nice spring. That's not a ballistic contraction where you're grabbing the tissues and yanking backwards. Just as if you were to throw a ball to me, if you were to throw the ball anterior, you always go posterior first. So the concept here in elasticity in these tissues, skin, muscle, all the connective tissues are viscoelastic. And what that means is they have this elastic property. So just like when you get out of your chair, you go into the chair first, then you come out. So what I did is I went into the ground before I came up. As long as there's extensibility there, that's an extremely healthy way to mobilize your body. Take it slow. If you have any individual questions, contact Lenny and Brandy. Thank you so much.